All right, Tone. It's time for. Oh, I don't think I have it set. Oh, there it is. There it is. I got the story set. We have a single story we want to talk about this week
because it's one of the greatest films of all time.
You can't not talk about Face Off if we're talking about Face Off
part of the Holy Trinity.
Part 2. Yeah. The Holy Trinity. Yes, it is. It's the final movie in the Holy Trinity.
Same as. You watch the show though.
But back in 2022, it had been announced that Adam Wingard, he of Godzilla and Kong, and his longtime collaborator, writer Simon Barrett, were teaming up for a sequel to 1997's Face Off, the John Woo classic, starring Nic Cage and John Travolta.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a good way to put that. I like how you did that. Yeah, that was important.
I thought it was really important.
Nick Cage and there's a guy named John Travolta.
And Johnny T's in it as well. Hey, St. John's, Michael Jason, what's going on, buddy? Hope you're having a good night, man. But in a recent interview a year later with the Fourth Wall podcast, Wingard seemingly teased that he would only make the film if the original cast returned, which I would hope. But, I mean, how do you do that? But anyways,
yeah, right.
This is what he said in the interview. Look, I mean, like, the only way that we're going to do this really is if we get, the original cast. I'm not going to say how it works or anything, but, like, it's got to be 100% the real follow-up, not just some fan service movie, not just some, like, ka-ching thing. This has to feel like the ultimate follow-up to the original movie.
So okay.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
You don't just do a sequel to Face Off and be like, we're going to do our own thing. No. Face Off, by all accounts, in my opinion, was a movie that never needed a fucking sequel.
Yeah.
And judging by the ending, I wasn't expecting one.
Yeah.
So that was what he said. He was like, look, I'm only going to do it if I get the original cast. Well, per Daniel Rickman, who is a writer for CNBC, he is confirming that Nicolas Cage and John Travolta are now signed on and will be returning for the sequel. So they have the two original actors that made the movie amazing. But that makes you want that. You got a question, Tone?
How is that possible?
How indeed? Because at the end of Face Off, Castor Troy's dead. He gets shot with a fucking harpoon. Goes through his chest and he sings a song and he dies hanging there. Or did he? That's an interesting point. Barrett.
Oh, shit. Did the faces get swapped again?
This is interesting. Now, here, and I mean, hey, man, it goes back to that classic trope. The thing about seeing a body, we did see a body, but was the body covered?
Did we see it in the coroner's office?
Here's the thing. Here's what Barrett said, who is writing the sequel. He stated that he doesn't believe Castor Troy actually died. Here's what he says. The funny thing is, I never personally thought Castor Troy died at the end of Face Off. When you watch it now, it's kind of clear that what they were actually probably doing was trying to have it both ways, where he looks pretty damn dead when he gets shot with a fishing spear, but they don't cover him up in the back of it, at the back of the ambulance, of him getting loaded into the ambulance. To me, don't load a person on an ambulance next to a living person without putting a sheet over them in a movie unless they're alive. Which, again, I mean, that does make sense. If I'm in a car accident with Tone and he has his fishing spear or some kind of pipe through his chest and I'm like, kind of alive and I'm hanging on, they're not going to put me in the ambulance and then put Tone's fucking mutilated corpse next to me uncovered so I can go for a ride to the hospital looking at this guy with a pole through his chest. That makes sense.
It's a stripper pole, by the way.
And I mean, hey, look, maybe John Woo was just like, dude, just throw him in the fucking ambulance and let's get to the credits. Let's wrap it up. But that's the thing with movies that's beautiful. You look at that and it might have been a flaw by John Woo.
Yeah.
But the next group is like, no, that is how we can make a sequel.
That's very like
that's light.
I mean, I'll say it though, like that's a very like niche detail that Draskin talked about this. If you're a D&D DM, that's all you would need as a hook to like carry it.
You just need a
little bit of reasoning. A little bit of something, and that's a little bit of something.
They could literally start the movie in the ambulance.
Oh, my God.
Where, like, Johnny T's laying there. Or, no, sorry, Nic Cage is laying there because he's still...
I don't want to see de-aging shit, though.
And then you look next to him, and, like, all of a sudden, Travolta's like, oh, he's still alive, you know? I mean, look, man, it's possible. Is it a stretch? But hey, you know what? The whole premise of Face Off is a stretch.
I mean, it is, and you know, like it's
honestly, man. If you want me to point out the one issue I have with this remake, if the remake's happening, the issue I have is no John Woo. Like, I like Adam Wingard. I think he's a good director, and he does good with what he's given. For Kong versus X, he was given what he was given, and he made it a fun, entertaining movie.
Yeah.
Okay? He knows how to make a movie entertaining. But John Woo,
yeah.
He is one of the look, Cage and Travolta carried fucking Face Off. They're amazing in it. One of the best duos ever on screen. But under the steady guidance of John Woo. There's chemistry. John Woo is an integral part of why Face Off was so good.
Yeah. Yeah, bring him in maybe as a producer or a consultant. I don't know.
I mean, just have him be a part of it somehow, but maybe that's...
Throw some dubs in it.
But sometimes these directors, man, John Woo's out there probably thinking 2 years ago, no one's ever going to remake Face Off or do a sequel because my story was definitive.
Right.
You know, there was an opening, a middle, and a closing, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you've seen that from, like, John Carpenter in the past. There's some movies where he's just like, I'm not signing off on that.
Right.
You know, sometimes, but he'll support, like, you know, certain movies and other movies. Just directors are like that. You know, if they get John Woo on board for a producer, that doesn't exactly mean it's going to be good. You know, he's just there to make that money because he's a producer. He's putting the money into it. He's probably got a little bit of say, but ultimately he's just looking for the returns. But we want to get you guys to go. I mean, what do you guys think? Are you excited at the thought of seeing Castor Troy?
I'm going to say it. So like, I like what was it, Daniel? Who's or the director?
Adam Wingard.
Wingard. Yeah. I like what he's done with like the Kong vs. Godzilla. Like it's you know, it's pretty good. I enjoy it. It's fun. And I appreciate that he clearly appreciates great cinema. And I got to say, you know, it's not like this movie is really a huge, like, diverse story. We're not looking for a lot of story here. We're looking for, like, that 90s kind of, like, in a way, kind of campy action.
Over-the-top acting.
Yeah, a pseudo-story or whatever's going on. Like, good guy versus bad guy, you know, whatever. But he definitely, Crash said it, too. He's, like, kind of promoting the movie that's kind of crazy. I got to admit, the hook to get you going again on this is a little bit more convincing because I thought, we just want to do this and just try and, like... He has reasoning.
I appreciate him saying we're not just doing this to
right. So so I can kind of, I don't know. I'm gonna be I don't know. It's tough because like if we're doing that a lot now, outside of just remakes, but we're reliving series that haven't been around, movies that haven't been around for a long time, and it's a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it is, but you know, I'm a little bit more convinced now at this point after hearing him because clearly he takes it serious enough to where he says that.
Yeah.
Which he's not just some like, and he's probably a fan of the movie. That's why he wants to be involved.
I don't trust anybody that isn't a fan of the movie.
Fair. Are they going to be in space like Jason X or Fast and Furious? That's funny. Jason X is a great movie. I don't care what anybody says. It's awesome.
I think part of me just wants to make sure, like, look, like I get it. Face Off is a '90s action movie, but there were layers to it. There were, and I mean, honestly,
a couple of faces.
Yeah, there were some layers to the face, but like Cage and Travolta. They were like bombastic roles. They were over the top roles, but there were layers to their performance. So I mean, it's not just known for its action sequences. It's known for the performances. It's known for the depth of the characters. These aren't shallow 3D or like, you know, one-dimensional characters. Mm. These were actually really good characters.
Yeah.
And they were fully committed.
Yeah.
They got the performance because they had good material and because they had good direction.
Absolutely.
That remains to be seen. Now, look, I'm not going to say no to this movie. I could eat a peach for hours.
I was obsessed with those gold guns for as a kid.
The gold-plated 45s, man.
Dude,
those things were dope, dude. But like, I'm not thrilled about this. Okay, I'm not like, oh, cool, we needed this, but understanding Wingard's. Understanding that he doesn't want to just make this a cash grab.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it.
And the fact that you're bringing back the two original actors.
Yeah.
You get my respects for that.
Okay.
I dig that. But you better have a fucking good story. You need more, because if you are just doing it to bring the actors back, then you are just a ka-ching cash grab.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a story that's as entertaining and fucking crazy wild as the first one.
I'm gonna tell Wingard like I tell Drassen every time he makes a new fucking beer.
Uh-oh.
Don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck it up.
Like, look, man, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I like what you've done. I like your body of work.
Yeah, Drassen.
But now you're fucking with
too.
you're fucking with my emotions a little bit.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the Holy Trinity.
Oh, this was a movie growing up as a kid. Would this come out like 94, 95 or something like that?
97.
97, even later, like I don't know, 17 years old, right? I was obsessed with this fucking movie.
Oh,
like, this was like I already enjoyed Nicolas Cage, but this was like for me this was the Nic Cage movie.
Because I think 95 was The Rock, 96 was Con Air, and 97 was Face Off.
Yeah, man. This was the movie. I mean, because even then too, like it's fucking Travolta. You know what I'm saying? So
dude, I'm cautiously optimistic.
and Travolta doing a Nic Cage impersonation,
Chef's kiss, man.
dude, it's so fucking good. Like I was always blown away like that. I'm like, how in the fuck?
And I tell you what, the one person who needs this gig is Travolta. He's like
he's doing all state
and I'm gonna say this right now with the utmost respect, because like now that we understand Bruce Willis's condition and everything that he was going through, we understand why he was doing those films. I'm gonna need a similar reason to why Travolta's doing his films, because he's doing the same shit that Bruce Willis was doing. He's making some garbage ass C movie films, and I'm just like, we can't get Johnny T. We can't get Johnny T. He needs like a Pulp Fiction to re-jump his career again. Can Face Off 2 be that movie? Firebirds 2.
It's interesting when you think about the two of them as well too in their
Firebirds.
careers. Like Travolta has like waned so far in like the last 2 decades, really. Like what else has he done like outside of Swordfish?
I'm trying to think of like the last mainstream
like,
movie that was like a big time hit for him.
Like a big thing, but like Nick saw the demons in his life, went through his own hell, knows that he did some fuck ups, and slowly grinded himself through that by taking a path less traveled, by doing indie shit, getting popular doing that, making great fucking cinema doing that, and now coming to a point where all of a sudden people are starting to look to him again for like bigger roles and doing stuff and having like this renaissance of himself by just being what he is, which is a true thespian.
He is the truest.
So, you know,
the master
of the cinematic paradigm, as you know. But it's just interesting to see these two characters be like so.
See, I think that's what's wild when you look at like the again going back to Bruce Willis's his career choices. We understand why he did that, but there's been other A-listers that have kind of gone down that path where they're just doing C movies and they're just kind of phoning it in. Travolta is one of them right now, where some of his movies are just bad movies. Whereas Cage at first was doing some pretty bad movies in there, but then he saw the opportunity. He's like, wait a minute. Yeah, this movie might not be great, but I'm fucking great.
But I'm fucking Nic Cage.
Yeah, and I can make my role whatever the fuck I want to make it, because I am Nic fucking Cage.
Nic fucking Cage.
And so when you have an actor who's like, you know what, look, this might be low budget. This might be something people are going to overlook. The movie Joe, for example, is a very small indie movie that has one of his best performances in the last 20 years. Mandy was another small independent film that kind of like was like the starting point of like, oh, he's doing
this
more
renaissance
stuff. His renaissance of Cage. And then from there, you've just seen it continue. He's doing these B-level movies, but he's giving an A-plus performance, and they're all being recognized because like, oh, shit, he's still swinging for the fence.
Yeah.
He's still taking chances. And, dude, that is the sign of a true thespian, an amazing actor, when you can sit there and take on a shit movie and just be like, boom, man, I got it. I forgot about that movie. Is actually fucking really good. The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. That movie is actually fucking dope. It's a remake, and I think the original had Robert Shaw, who was Quinn in Jaws. I think the original one was with Robert Shaw, and that original one was fucking dope.
That's old. Fuck,
so, but yeah, I do. The John Travolta one is actually a really good flick. I actually thought that was a little underrated. But yeah, man, I can't think of anything else that he's been in lately. And he kind of looks. I actually liked his Santa Claus. I thought Santa Claus in the State Farm commercials was pretty good. Was it State Farm that he was doing
like that, yeah, I think.
I thought it was. I was okay. He's out there dancing. I was like, okay, man, I dig it. But like every time you see him out in public, I'm just like, how much work do you need to have done?
Yeah.
You're John Travolta, bro.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. But I want to get you guys and girls' thoughts. Let us know in the comments. Are you excited for Face Off 2? You're bringing back Castor Troy. What the fuck? Is it Archer? Sean Archer. You're bringing back Sean Archer and fucking Castor Troy. Are you excited about the possibility of them revisiting Face Off 2? I mean, they are. They've written the story. We got the actors. We got the director. Let us know in the comments below what you think.
And unfortunately, Pollock Troy is dead.
And Pollock Troy is dead. Is he, though?
I don't know.
I mean, is he? I'm going to have to go back and watch the movie.
Yeah.
Did we see his body get cut? How did he die?
Yeah.
He gets shot, doesn't he?
I thought he got. Didn't he get shot? Or did he get pushed and fall?
Oh, he fell. He fell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, man. The actor's still alive. He was in that fucking Sopranos movie.
Which blew my mind. Anyways, yeah.
We'll have to see,
Digress.
man. But I'm cautiously optimistic. If it's got to have a good story. But the biggest bummer for me is just no John Woo. When it's all said and done, no John Woo is kind of like, I don't know.